Good afternoon. I'm MJ from Linus Publications, and we're going to do a session on Ruth Ginsberg. She was a Supreme Court justice, and I think her chart will be interesting after we've done the charts of the two other people, because hers is a little bit different. And I think you may appreciate the differences. So, first off, when it comes to how she is noted, most people would say she's pragmatic. She tended to weigh the different ways to interpret the law, and then she looked at the consequences. So it's not that she was slotted into one specific way of interpreting. She would look at what the results would be and the consequences. So that would be noted as being pragmatic. So you look at the outcomes. She was also very much into advocating for people or groups. So she was very aware of the people behind the cases, the issues. Now, she did like to have consensus, so she would work with other justices to try to arrive at something, and she would, she would try to amend to support a consensus. Now, she did respect precedent, so she didn't want to go back over and do other cases because they could be done better or whatever. She respected them. And because of that, usually if you respect precedent, you want to have legal stability. So you don't want to appear like you're changing the laws, So for every different political party that comes in, we upend everything. And when she did dissent on something, she was very measured. So it wasn't like she was going to throw the book at something to show how displeased she was with the result. So looking at that, let's now take a look at her angles because they're interesting. So the first thing I want to look at is she's got Jupiter and it's in conjunct Saturn. So it's not a trine. Now, what does the inconjunct mean? It's a break and adjust. So that actually goes along with being pragmatic. She would take a look at one way of doing it. If it wasn't working, she'd look at a different interpretation. She'd look at yet another one. So she was always adapting. Okay. She would use different lenses to look at a case. So it's not like she knew how she was going to approach it. She would, in effect, take and do tests of each interpretation. Now, she had a sense of justice versus a legal precedent. So that means that she was always, because this is inconjunct, she always wanted to have justice done versus just serving the legal issues. So that's, again, the inconjunct. We have a break and adjust. We can't get there from here. So we have to keep on adjusting. So in her mind, it was almost always sort of like, what should this be? And then what is legally permissible? So she would be looking at cases and saying, what is the solution? What is the perfect solution? Maybe we can't get there, but what legal precedent would get us something close? So I think she approached the law a little differently, and she examined it. So she wasn't found with one specific way. She would look at the different versions, different interpretations. Now, the Jupiter part is also opposing Venus. So this is adding a little bit of twist. So this brings in her values. So she wasn't just judging on what she was hearing. She was bringing her values into this. Now, that may be good, that may be bad. I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to see what the chart says to me. And because of that, she was always striving for fairness and also for dignity for the people involved. But that brought up the question, if that was what she wanted, how do you apply the law to that? So she did have that, again, it's an opposition. In that case, we're sort of one against the other. What do we do? Now, she would be leaning towards leniency, but again, how to apply that? So it's not like she could just say, well, I'm going to do this because it's the easiest solution. She would have to find a precedent. She would have to find the law that says, yes, that works. But overall, because of this Venus opposing Jupiter, she would be looking at, should the law or should her rulings reflect compassion, which is Venus, or the broad societal principles, which is the Jupiter? So you might sort of think of that as being creative legal reasoning. So she was always in a fight with herself on this. Now, she also has a conjunction of 3 planets. And this is the Mars, South Node, and Neptune. Now, this indicates that she was shaped by early life experiences. That's what the South Node here is. And the Mars being here means she can be very combative, very impulsive. The Neptune, she fights for causes. And she does do that. She was known for understanding the plight of certain groups or for certain causes. Now, the themes of the illusion here, and this is the Neptune, that can cause problems when you try to look for clarity. Because again, this is her illusion and it's with her past. So it really could have put a finger on some of her rulings. Now, she does act on behalf of the vulnerable. And again, she's got that empathy. It's very deep. But is it grounded in law? So that's something that she would always be saying, how can I ground this? How can I anchor it to something? Now, we also have Mercury that is in conjunct the Mars, South Node, and Neptune. So in this case, Mercury in conjunct Mars, internally conflicted, mentally restless, just can't settle. And you want to have swift resolutions. You want to have things end fast, or come to a decision fast. Now, if she was listening to arguments, she would probably be the type that would be interrupting and challenging attorneys. So trying to sort of get them to really defend their positions. She might also be, because we've got the Mercury and Mars here in conjunct, can't get there from here, over editing. So on her opinions, she'd probably be going over it constantly. Now, with Mercury in conjunct the South Node, this is bringing up something, again, I haven't read much about her early life, but this seems to really harken that her early life had a definite impact on her. In fact, this means that she probably had a tough time letting go of her early life, and it probably impacted a lot of her tendencies and her beliefs. And in effect, made it hard for her to move beyond how she was conditioned. So this is something she may not have realized. But if you go back over some of her opinions, which I plan to do, this is probably something that might be showing up. Now, Mercury is also in conjunct Neptune. This means that, again, we've got the illusion, we've got the fogginess here. She's going to second guess her opinions. Okay, she would have gone back and overwrote her, rewrote them, changed them around. But she could have also been ambiguous or maybe over romanticizing. the legal principles here. And with this, she could also misread intentions. So she might not read the room right when she was hearing arguments. So that could be an issue. Now, if we look at the last angle I want to touch on, it's the Pluto trine Sun. So it's a very strong angle. So this tends to give someone authority. So they have a presence. They have this inner strength that shows through. They're power aware, but not power hungry. We've talked we've talked about other people that are power hungry because of what's showing up in their charts. But since this is a trine, she's power aware. So again, Sun is identity, Pluto is power, manipulation, and they're working well, which means that who she is has power. So she achieved that. Now, one thing that can be notable with Pluto is this is a trine. So as part of her identity, she might see the law as something that's alive, that's living, that in effect, her job or her destiny is to transform it. And when you think of it, that's what Pluto does. Pluto goes in and it can either just destroy things if it's in a harsh angle, or it causes things to evolve gradually. And that's what she was trying to do. So in a lot of her rulings, there's a point to it that it's moving the law along. It's growing it. It's a living. And that's in contrast to specifically Clarence Thomas that we talked about, who doesn't believe that the law or that justice is living, that we make interpretations of the law by seeing that it's alive. Now, she also believed in dealing with taboo subjects, so she was not afraid of that. So she would, touch on things like corruption or things that other people wouldn't or have a hard time dealing with. And again, this is because of the people involved. She was very understanding of these people, and she was for them. Now, I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope it gives you a little bit better understanding of who this judge was. And she wasn't perfect, but she was trying to achieve something through her rulings that I think was significant. If she did or not, that's for someone else to say. I'm just looking to interpret her chart. Have a great day. Bye now.